Hi, welcome to Cranbourne Golf Club. My name's Mark All. I'm a golf professional here. Essentially, we're going to do a next part of our bunker series, which is learning how to play out of bad lies. So, good players are really easy to play out of nice lies, but essentially one of the things that actually separates good players from bad players is essentially how to play out of bad lies. Now, I've got a couple of different lies I can create here. The first one will be out of a footprint. So, there's one of my footprints that I used before. Effectively now, that ball's sitting down in a bit of a hole. Now, I wouldn't worry too much about that one. That one's actually not that hard, but they can get worse than that. But essentially, it's the principle of how to do it. From a swing point of view, the golf swing is either you rotate your torso or you hinge your right wrist. Okay, so in terms of being able to play out of a bad lie, what we need to do is create a steeper angle of attack. How I do that is I tend to get my wrist to work a little earlier in my action and don't use so much body. What that does is creates a steeper angle into the sand. So we're not just hitting the sand, which would be cocking our wrists up and down, we're hinging our wrists back and forward, but I'm doing that quite early in my action. So what that does is it gives me quite a steep angle of attack. So you'll see my right wrist here is bent back on itself. So I'm creating a steep angle to be able to get the golf club down into the sand and through. So we use that wrist angle to create my steeper angle of attack. So it's very important here that we use our wrist correctly so as to get the golf club to set up on the plane a nice steep angle. So when you're playing out of a bad lie, and this is not a really bad lie, we'll play out of this one first and then I'm going to make a really bad one where I plug the ball, but essentially if I'm playing out of this lie, not using so much body, using a lot more of just my wrist action. So from a bunker shot point of view, really important, because you're not using your body too much, keep the ball on your left hand side of your body. It's really important. Never let that ball get back in your stance because you'll end up hitting the ball first. So from a bunker shot point of view, ball's played forward. Alright, really important. I'm going to use my wrist. I'm going to get quite steep on my wrist action. So setting my right wrist quite early in my action to create the angle of attack. Okay, from there I'm still going to follow through, but it will be a little bit more of an abbreviated follow through just because I'm not using my body that much. But essentially, out of a bad lie, use my right wrist a bit more, pop the ball up and out of the lie. I'm still going to follow through because you still have to. It's not just digging the club into the sand. So that's one bad lie. You can see I create quite a steep angle of attack. Now, that one wasn't so hard. We'll make it a little bit harder because I'm a golf pro. I should be able to play that shot pretty easy, which I did. So the next one we'll play the plug lie because that's a bit harder. All right, so essentially all I've done there is I've just stepped on the ball. What that's done is just plug the ball into the sand. How am I going to play it? I'm still going to play it the same way. So effectively, keep the ball on my left side, really important. Keep the ball on my left side for a right-handed player. It'll be on your right side for a left-handed player, obviously. But to play this shot, still need to use my right wrist. I need to create that steeper angle of attack. So really setting my wrist, not adding a lot of body motion to it. Very steep with my wrist angle. So it's this action, right? I'm going to end up going quite steep into the sand. I've got to create that steepness in the angle because I can't get that ball out if I don't. So essentially, right wrist is going to work back on itself. So I'm going to set my right wrist quite early, pop the ball out of the line. That's how you play out a bad lie. So essentially just using your right wrist, making sure your right wrist is setting really early in your action, creates your angle, the ball pops straight up and out.